This is Lab 4, Supporting Network Connectivity, found in Supporting Windows 8.1 Lab Manual, part of the Microsoft Official course in preparation for exam 70-688. During this next set of labs, we will be configuring IP settings, installing and configuring the DHCP server, troubleshooting DNS, creating a Windows firewall outbound rule, and using IP security. Each of these exercises is broken down into individual video for ease of use, for ease of watching. So this first video we'll start on exercise 4.1, which is configuring IP settings. So in this exercise, we're going to configure IP settings for Windows 8.1 OS based PC. The mindset behind this is that as an administrator, you'll need to know how to configure the IP configuration manually, including the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and DNS server. The approximate time for this is about 15 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and log into Windows 8B as Contoso administrator. So the first thing I want to do is log in as my RWDC01 as Contoso administrator. And again, the password for all these machines will be $$W0RD. And as I go along, basically I'm following the lab manual. If you are not one of my students and you're required to do so, I will tell you when there is a print screen required. Alright, we're going to go into Windows 8B, select Other User, and go ahead and log in as Contoso administrator. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select on the network status icon, which is down here, and I'm going to right click, go into Open Network and Sharing Center. Also, another note is that while I try to follow most of the steps in the lab, there are times that I will vary based on my preference of getting from one point to another. This is a great example of that because in the Windows lab it actually says to click on the desktop tile and then right click the network status icon and choose Open Network and Sharing. All you have to do is right click on here. So now we're going to go into adapter settings. Change adapter settings. And I'm going to go ahead and minimize this because I don't need the RWDC physically open, it just has to be logged into. Alright, and we'll see that we have Ethernet 2. We have Ethernet 2 and Ethernet. Ethernet is going to be our internal switch. The Ethernet 2 is our external switch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rename these. So I'm going to click on here, F2, internal switch, F2, external switch. This is not something you have to do. It's just something for me that I like doing just so I can differentiate between the two as we work through some of these exercises, especially this one and the next one. We'll be flipping between the internal and external switches. So on the lab, it says to right-click the second Ethernet connection, which is going to be your external switch. And we want to choose Disable. So now that we've disabled our external switch, we're going to double-click on the first Ethernet connection, which is our internal switch, and go into Properties. And then we're going to scroll down here to IPv4 and go into Properties. And you'll notice that we have this set up as IP address 192.168.1.81. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. The default gateway is blank, and we have a DNS of 192.168.1.50. So that would be question 1. What problem is caused by the default gateway by the current default setting? What problem is caused by the current default gateway setting? So you'll need to answer that. What address could you assign to the default gateway that would indicate a local router? Now we're going to go ahead and select Advanced. And then we're going to click on Add and type in 192.168.2.81 and then Tab and then Add. And then click on OK to close the Advanced TCP IP Settings dialog box. Click on OK to close the Internet Protocol version 4 Properties dialog box. And click on Close to close the Ethernet Properties dialog box. And we're going to click on Close to close the Ethernet Status dialog box. And then we're going to close our network connections. Now we want to go into our command prompt. So we're going to come down here to our Windows icon and right click and go into the command prompt admin. And I'm going to make this a little bit larger. So I'm going to right click on the bar, go into Properties, Font, and you can choose either Consolidus or Lucinda, and it'll allow you to change this. And then OK. So I might go a little bit larger. Alright, and here we're going to type in ipconfig and then enter. If you're following along your lab manual, this would be where you take your screenshot. And now we're going to close out of our command prompt window. And this is the end of this exercise and the end of this video. The next video will be installing and configuring the DHCP server.